Now, for a little something that's hidden in the stack, as many of us know, we get a bunch of equipment and you got that 5, 10, 20 room job going on, and you have bunches of Crestron equipment. One, thank you very much for your support. Two, you eventually have to log in to each one. It's that first boot login where you establish the admin account. So you browse to the device, you go, you create the account, you log in. Now, when you got 20, 30, 40 pieces of equipment, you have to do that with each. Now, there are ways around that. There's always things like toolbox scripting. There's also PowerShell. But what if you don't know those two? Okay, well, there is something hidden in the stack here that can help you out. It's part of the PowerShell support we have. It's part of the Crestron Enterprise Software Development Kit, or the EDK in this case. And there's a way to do this where you can leverage PowerShell without having to know PowerShell. You do have to understand how a spreadsheet works, this very specific one, and let's go through that. This is hidden in the stack. I was talking about the EDK utilities and that first boot login and doing that en masse. Well, where will I find that? Well, it's part of the EDK. It's called the EDK utilities, and you can find that located at developer.crestron.com. Go in and find the Crestron Enterprise Development Kit. So the Crestron Enterprise Development Kit, if we go in and view, will provide you instructions on what you need to know, what to download, do the readmes, and get everything configured. In this case, there's 2 downloads. You will need both the EDK installer and the utilities installer. Run the EDK installer first, then the utility installers, making sure to look at the readmes, follow through with the instructions. So basically, once you have this set up, followed the prerequisites, and everything installed, you're going to be ready to go. So what am I talking about? Well, here's that first device boot login screen. This is where you create that first initial account. Once you've done that, you can then use it to log in. So in the EDK utilities, there's a couple of really cool things. So if we go look in the directory, you'll see a whole bunch of PowerShell stuff. Here's the thing, you don't need to know anything about PowerShell. You need to know how to configure the spreadsheet to utilize the EDK utilities. Now, I've created a couple shortcuts on my desktop to the script runner and the scripts XLS spreadsheet so that I know, or workbook in this case, so I can go and easily get to them. I placed those on my desktop. I also created a directory called reports because I need a place for the EDK to put the results in. So let's take a look at the first part of the EDK. So here we have the script runner. Within the script runner, there's several pieces. All these are explained at developer.crestron.com and under the EDK utilities. Each one of the script's descriptions tells you exactly what it does. So getting back to our script runner here, from the script runner, once you've got everything plugged in, set up a small network, do those things, I can run auto discovery from PC. Here I've done a really basic run, which gives me this get AD, which is the auto discovery from PC. And if I go look at that, I'll find that I have a number of devices listed. I need the IP list from this. I'm going to assume that these are all the devices that I need. You may need to trim the list. You can use auto discovery from Toolbox. There's a number of ways of getting those. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those. I'm going to run over here. I'm going to open up my scripts XLS. So I have the workbook. First thing I want to do in configuration is make sure I'm pointing everything towards my reports directory so it knows where to put things, and you'll find that this first list matches everything that's in the script runner. When I look at what's in the script runner, set authentication, it says the sheet we use is set auth. So if I go here to set auth, where my IP addresses are already placed, and I put in the auth username and password. Now, keep in mind that this is my first boot attempt, so I'm setting them. I don't require a username and password because I'm not using a rotation. Refer back to documentation for how that part works. We're just worried about doing that first login. So I have the script, I've added my IP addresses, I've put this in. A note on passwords. This is not a locked spreadsheet. This utility is meant to do that first part for commissioning. There are things that you're going to want to do, such as come back when you're done and remove these. Don't leave this lying around. So now that I have my script, I've saved it. That's the important part. I'm going to come on in here, close this off, get back to my script runner, and I'm going to select the set authentication. I'm going to click the old run. It's going to say running, and then I'm going to wait for it. So it's going through each one of those devices, connecting to them, setting the authentication, so that when I go and log in, and we'll see here in a minute, when I refresh the page, that I don't have the first boot login anymore. What I have is the base login. This also means that should it be a pre-agreed to login in that during commissioning at turnover, end user customers can use this to rotate those passwords. You can also do a few other things like update firmware, load programs and projects. Yes, there are some redundant functions to what XIO Cloud does, but maybe you're in a hurry, maybe XIO Cloud's not an option at the moment. These utilities are a little jewel for the tech, commissioners, and programmers. So it's done. When we go into reports, we'll see we have a report. If we open up the report, everything turned true. That means we're good to go. Come here. I'm just going to refresh the page, and there we go. First device login, admin, Crestron, and away we go. That's a little jewel hidden in the stack. Thanks for joining me. See you next time on the Crestron Insider.